Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Dr. Dana Rosengard.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 6th annual Rammy Awards competition. I hope you are all ready for an evening of fun and excitement. I'm always curious to know when I walk into a classroom, I know who's there, right? I have my roster and all of my students are there, all of the time. So clear your desks, take out a pen, and no, kidding. I am curious to know, though, who do we have here? Can I hear a quick round of applause from our freshmen? Okay, so you two I sort of know, and that was not enthusiastic. Gabby, we're close. I want a round of applause from our freshmen. You're about to be outdone by our sophomores. Our juniors. All right, I'm counting on this next group. Our seniors. Who are single-digit weeks away from the real world, as I've enjoyed reminding them every week since classes started in January. We also, of course, have some very special guests with us who I would like to say hello to right away, and they include our university president, James McCarthy, and with him making her Rammy debut, his wife, Dr. Magda Ramna. We also have our college dean, Dr. Kenneth Greenberg. We have the university spokesperson, vice president for anything I need, Greg Gatlin. And of course, we have the chair of the Department of Communication and Journalism, Dr. Bob Rosenthal. And we have lots of other important people who you will meet along the way as we celebrate, again, as I said, our 6th annual Rammy competition. Now, in case you're new to the Rammys, you should know that we have this evening awards in 9 categories, if you could not keep up with that fancy opening there. And we had more than 100 submissions, and the submissions were sent out across the country to professionals to judge. And I know just in the hard news category, because I was in charge of that category, that the entries went to newsrooms in Rhode Island, Texas, and Oregon, so literally coast to coast. And this evening here on stage, we will present to you nominees, 2, 3, and 4 even in categories. You'll see a quick snippet of each. And then of course, we will name our Rammy winners. Now I'm hoping that all of the nominees are sitting on the first floor and not up in the balcony. Hello, people in the balcony. Lovely to see you, which of course I can't. Anybody who needs to make their way to stage, you must go all the way to the green exit sign. The only way to get through is here. Yes? If you take a hard left, you have a hard stare. I will do my best to be a gentleman and help you, but you're going to be happier if you make it all the way around to X marks the spot. Whew. So we know how to get to the stage. Before we start, we have to thank a few other people who are making this event happen, and they begin with part of our creative team, David Reeder. I feel like Clint Eastwood at the Republican National Convention. Yes, I do. We should also thank one of our other creative geniuses, Sasha Lekic, who's up in the booth. And of course, our host this evening in the theater sense is Ben Sigda, also working up in the booth. And those of you who spend any time at all in Studio 73 know that we can't do anything without Jerry Glendye, and Keith Erickson is somewhere working around, and we thank them. So this is our 6th year. You will meet the founding fathers of Rammy as the evening goes on, and I think I have taken care of every piece of business. We do have breaking news. My students know how much I love breaking news. I do feel a little bit like Channel 7 right now, because when something happens at 9:30 in the morning and I watch the 11 o'clock news, they're still calling it breaking news, and I yell at my television. So it's sort of breaking news if you allow us to go all the way back to last year. Because for the very first time, we have a sports reporting category, ladies and gentlemen, because we've got lots of sports on campus. We're GNAC powerhouses, and we've got some sports reporting going on, and it is our first Rammy category. And so our nominees are Baseball Spring Training by Olivia Meisner.
That's the sound the Rams have waited for. Spring training started mid-January, but until now, most players hadn't faced live pitching since the fall. They've been working hard, and most are using last year's championship loss as a motivator for this year.
Our expectations are to win the GMAC and beat St. Joe's because they beat us 3 years in a row now. And we just got to go out there and really battle with them because they're pretty good.
Team Support at SU Games by Karina Bolster.
Putting aside their competitiveness, the teams support each other for the love of the game.
I mean, yeah, sometimes it's a love-hate relationship, but like in the end, it's all fun and games. We're both cheering each other on regardless of how each other's records are.
The support for one another adds to the mission of the athletic department in providing leadership, integrity, and how to be resilient despite the outcome of the game.
For softball and baseball, they more easily relate to the other person's sport and the challenges that it presents.
Quidditch, the Sport by Dan McCarthy.
While a growing phenomenon, the question remains, is the game a sport? Emily Yumkis spent 11 years playing lacrosse before trading her lac stick for a broomstick.
I think it's a sport because it keeps you active, it's competitive, it's I don't know, it's a lot of fun, there's a great team dynamic, which is important. It's just the group of people, it's very much like any other sport I've ever played.
And I should tell you that our judges included 2 Suffolk University alumni, one who's working at New England Sports Network, NESN, and one who's down the road in Connecticut at ESPN. To present the award, a football player in his day and a colleague of mine, Frank Irizarry.
And the Rammy goes to Dan McCarthy, Quidditch, the Sport.
The game is Quidditch. Popularized by the classic Harry Potter book series, the sport has leapt off the pages and into the hearts and minds of college students across Boston. The rules are simple. You and your team must fly around and toss as many quaffles, or dodgeballs, through the hoops as possible for points. Defenders can stop you by pegging you with bludgers, or dodgeballs, and force you back to the opposite end of the field. But the star of the show is the Golden Snitch. The game is over when the snitch is captured by a team seeker. But as Emerson student Brandon Cardwell proves, snagging a snitch is no easy task.
We sometimes run drills of like, how to use their momentum against you, or against them, so that they're thrown off. But we have fun with it too.
While a growing phenomenon, the question remains, is the game a sport? Emily Yumkis spent 11 years playing lacrosse before trading her lac stick for a broomstick.
I think it's a sport because it keeps you active, it's competitive, it's I don't know, it's a lot of fun, there's a great team dynamic, which is important. It's just the group of people, it's very much like any other sport I've ever played.
Those who play the game care not of how the Muggles define Quidditch. However, even they know that it could never be a sport without sportsmanship. Emerson College, Boston University, and Tufts University all took to Joe Moakley Field today to participate in the day's events. Money is being raised to help send Emerson's Quidditch team to the World Cup in Florida this spring. Dan McCarthy, Suffolk Sports Broadcasting.
Some of the judges' comments about Dan's piece include very creative, exciting and engaging storytelling, great editing sequences, fantastic use of natural sound, good emotion, and successfully explained a complicated sport. Dan McCarthy.
Thank you very much. I practiced this once in the mirror and I wasn't still not actually ready for it. I really want to thank, for starters, Dr. Rosengard. I've had him 4 times now, and he really taught me how to tell a news story. So I wouldn't have been able to do it without him. Secondly, I would really like to thank Keith Erickson, because while Dr. Rosengard taught me how to tell a story, Keith taught me how to do it in my own voice. And without that, I don't think it would have turned out to be the product that it was. I really owe it to him. And it was his first time teaching sports broadcasting, and I really hope he keeps doing it, because he's really good at it. So thank you very much. Thank you for all being here for this moment, and let's have fun tonight.
Congratulations, Dan. Nice job. Getting a moment to go backstage gives me a moment to remember what I forgot to do when I was last on stage. And as I was thinking, there are 2 more or 3 more people I wanted to say hello to or to thank. All of you from the Department of Communication and Journalism know that we are well supported by 2 staff members, and I believe they're both here, Diane Raymond and Mike DiLoretto. There's Mike. He's a balcony guy. Hi, Mike. And then here's a job I know none of you would want, but this young woman had to take it, and she's my university mentor, so she's sort of in charge of keeping me in line. Whew. Dr. Barbara Ash, thank you, dear. I see you in. So we're going to take a quick break from awards now. We are going from Rammy to Rampage. We'll be hearing a little bit more from Rampage as we go on. Dan, how does it feel to be holding one of those things? Amazing. I've got a box backstage for you and a certificate, which will be the case for all of the winners after the show. We're going to want you to come back and get those so that you don't drop it on the way home, right? Okay, so let's move on now. We go to our next Rammy category, and it is fiction short, ladies and gentlemen. We have 2 nominees in the category this year. And our nominees are Aberrant Sun by David Lawler, by Tyler Fisk.
All right, let me check on Facebook. Chick is fucking smoking. Oh my god.
And to present our fiction short Rammy, please welcome my colleague, Dr. Monica Raish.
And the Rammy goes to David Lawler, Aberrant Son. We will be watching approximately 4-minute excerpt of the piece. The judges in particular said with this excellent production quality, in particular the sound mix, the abstract visuals and sounds created a haunting narrative. Each judge enjoyed a different interpretation of the piece. Audiences who prefer to be guided by standard narration can become frustrated, but the judges truly appreciated the artistry.
How's everyone doing? Good? All right, let's make it sure. First, I just want to say thanks to Tyler. I mean, he did an awesome job with his film, so I give him a round of applause. Second, I just want to thank my best friend Casey for her help with this video. Then I'm going to have to say thank you to Monica for taking CJN 466. I learned a lot, especially with her being my professor. And thanks to my family who helped out. But yeah, it's just a nice artistic piece that just reflects my emotions and my relationship to my family. Thank you.
Congratulations, David. Now we're moving on to another new part of the Rammy Awards. For the first time, we have a pair of special awards to present, and to lead us in doing so, the Department Chair from Communication and Journalism, Dr. Bob Rosenthal.
Thank you. Good evening. Welcome to Suffolk's version of the Academy Awards. By the way, that makes Dana our version of Seth MacFarlane. Right, if you saw that. He's got a better vest than Seth did, but he's not quite as funny. He will be on Family Guy this week, though, if you watch that show. One of the things we decided to do this year was to create a couple of special award categories. One is a Lifetime Achievement Award, and that's going to be the first one that we talk about. And the second is actually going to be an award that's named after our person who gets the Lifetime Achievement Award. How many of you have had a course from Gerald Perry, Dr. Perry? Any of you? A couple of you here? Great. For those of you who have, you know, he is a film critic without peer. He has served on juries in the United States, Asia, Europe. He has essentially been an extraordinary critic over a number of years. He started to write criticism, more than 30 years ago for a paper in town called The Real Paper. In fact, he was writing a column when it folded. It died. And then he moved on to the Boston Phoenix, where he wrote for many years. And of course, if you know what just happened at Boston Phoenix, Jerry was writing a column the day it died. So we've re-nicknamed him Kiss, as in Kiss of Death. And if any of you are starting a paper while he's an excellent critic, your time and days are numbered if he's writing for you. Jerry was, I have to check my notes here because he has had an extraordinary career. He is a member of the Boston Society of Film Critics, the National Society of Film Critics, the International Society of Film Critics. He received his PhD from the University of Wisconsin. In fact, we determined a little earlier in conversation that Jerry and Dean Greenberg might have been at Wisconsin around the same time. Which could have been interesting had they met. Maybe they did at a party. You never know, right? He was a Fulbright scholar. In fact, he was a Fulbright scholar studying Yugoslavian film comedy, which is a category of about 2 films, but that's beside the point. Those Yugoslavs are not necessarily known for having a lot of comedy, but they do have a lot of irony and tragedy in their films. He's also been the acting curator of the Harvard Film Archive. He's authored 8 books on film, including several that where he got to interview a number of different great film directors. John Ford is one of his favorites. And lately, he has decided that he was going to leave the world of film criticism and move over to the dark side of the force and actually start making films. His film, For the Love of Movies, ironically, which is a movie about film criticism, get this, was critically acclaimed, right, by a number of different juries, and he's had great success for that. And he's just recently had an acting debut, and you'll see a little clip of that tonight, in a film called Computer Chess. few years ago, Jerry was honored at the Brattle Theater for 30 years of film criticism, and that night he said he was hoping to continue on for another 30 years beyond that of film criticism, which means that his retirement from Suffolk University is going to lead him to other things and bigger and better. Although lately what he has decided is he's going to keep making films and hopefully starring in them. Jerry, we're going to miss you, and we're not going to miss him all the time because he's going to be here teaching a couple classes each fall for the next couple of years in phased retirement. But Jerry, you have blessed our students with your wisdom and your wit, and you've beaten several of them on the basketball court with your basketball prowess. He still plays basketball, even though he's retiring, which is a pretty good thing. And we will be less of a place without you. And so it is my pleasure to bring to the stage Gerald Perry. And can we roll the retrospective?
Hey, do not ever shoot at the sun. You're going to burn out the tube.
I wasn't shooting at the sun. It's fine. The camera's fine.
You're shooting at the sun. You're going to shoot the rest of the weekend inside. We want to be only inside. That's it.
Please.
I must say that was a very intense game played by between two wonderful computer chess players, and we've seen some of. I'm talking on camera. Could you please move? I'm talking to my camera. Please talk to my rules committee over here. Thank you, John. Thank you.
This one little guy is your rules committee?
It was an amazing game. Extremely good computer program.
What do you think the problem is?
Move over Woody Allen, right? You detect a little of that in there? It is my great pleasure to present this Lifetime Achievement Rammy to Dr. Gerald Perry.
Thank you. I've been trying to scratch through my speech to make it shorter and less boring. And every time Bob mentions something, I try to cut it out. So I don't know if I can read it anymore. But anyway, this is what I want to say for after many years. Okay, first, thanks to my pal Sasha for encapsulating my life in a series of flashing photographs. Yes, that's me tumbling on the borderline of France and Italy. That was me jumping on the borderline and sleepwalking in Cairo. I was in the King Tut's tomb when I did this, which means that I am really cursed forevermore. But I'm not really cursed. The lovely blonde you saw is a famous Dutch actress who became my friend. And the even more lovely, delightful strawberry blonde at the end of is my wife, Amy Geller, the best. Please stand, Amy, for 1 second. Okay. As for the Lifetime Achievement Award, it sounds a bit fatal, but I'm immensely honored and extremely humbled to receive this first-time award after 32 years teaching at Suffolk. Thinking back, it's no secret that for many years Suffolk and I were not the best fit. I was under a dean, a chemist, who did not understand at all what I did. My salary suffered, and it still severely suffers. But I love teaching at Suffolk, and I still do. I hope I'm the best and most inspired of professors. What that dean didn't acknowledge was my conception of service to Suffolk University, being a public figure. I wrote articles, published 9 books, served on film committees, served on juries, was a Fulbright scholar, ran the Harvard Film Archive, curated the Boston University Cinematheque, and when I wrote for 15 years, I was a critic for the Boston Phoenix. Well, lucky for me, Ken Greenberg became the dean, a formidable intellectual who cares deeply about culture. When I made a documentary feature, nobody on earth was more supportive of my accomplishment for Suffolk than Ken. And he's offering new support for me as an actor. That's my film debut in the feature Computer Chess, which will play across America next summer. Everybody see it. It's going to be playing in August at the Kendall if you're in Boston. And I promise to show this film at Suffolk next year. I'm also lucky to have a communications chairman, Bob Rosenthal, who is simply a really good guy, a mensch. He's allowed me the freedom to be out there in the wide world in the name of Suffolk. Thanks, Bob. And to the CNJ department, and also thanks to the great support staff. I'm also grateful to be among film colleagues who are both top-notch professionals and tight friends, Jason, Monica, Sasha, and David. And thanks to my wonderful students, many of whom are in the audience, or even better, Rammy participants. Thanks to all at Suffolk. May the Rammy show go on. Thank you.
So we thought, what would be, other than this, a fitting tribute to Jerry's legacy here? And we decided that we were going to establish an award at the Rammys where we could award a Rammy Award to someone who was not necessarily a student here, but someone either in the Suffolk community or even outside of the Suffolk community, an alumnus or something, who has made a significant contribution in the area of media. Well, it just so happens that the first Gerald Perry Award then will be going to our own Dean Kenneth Greenberg. For those of you who don't know Ken, Ken has been here since 1982, which actually predates me, which is very hard to do. So when we came here, Suffolk University we had 3 blackboards out on the common, and we were under a tree, and we'd write on those and conduct our classes. No, it's been quite a while. Ken has had a distinguished career as a history professor, and among his work has been several books, one of which you're going to see a clip from a film that was made, one of which, Nat Turner, Troublesome Property, was turned into a 1-hour PBS or documentary film that has appeared on PBS, in which he worked with, he was co-producer with Charles Burnett, who's one of the great film directors, according to the New York Times, one of the great film directors in the country, and also Frank Christopher, I know, who has also become his very good friend. He also has done a number of other projects with them, but you'll see something from Nat Turner. But it's interesting when you look at someone's vita, because I was preparing to do this and trying to get a little bit of information about Ken, such as he has been here as dean since 2004, after he had been chair of the history department, associate dean, a number of other things. But, you know, it's interesting when you read about books and what the titles of books are. A couple of years ago, when we opened the theater as part of our film series, we had Dennis Lehane here. And Dennis Lehane said he had the title of one of his books, Mystic River. He had that 10 years before he wrote the book. And he would tell his friends in the publishing industry, he'd say, I've got this great title, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, but when I write the book, you're going to love it, right? And so Mystic River became. So titles are important. Ken, I think, missed the class on titles for publishing. here is the title of a book of his published in 1977 by Princeton University Press. Honor and Slavery, Lies, Duels, Noses, Masks, Dressing as a Woman, Gifts, Strangers, Humanitarianism, Death, Slave Rebellions, the Pro-Slavery Argument, Baseball, Hunting and Gambling in the Old South. It had to be published as one of those big coffee table books just to get the title on the front. But seriously, Ken is a noted scholar. He has been a dean, presiding over tremendous growth and prosperity within the college. And he has always kept in mind that the reason why we are all here is for all of you who are students out there in the audience, that the raison d'etre of the college, our reason for being, is teaching. And for that, he has done things such as support our department, and also our film series was started in large part because Ken saw the wisdom in it and decided to fund our film series, because he does, as an historian, understand the importance of film within the culture. So let's take a quick look at a quick scene from the Nat Turner, A Troublesome Property.
On the 12th of May, 1828, I heard a loud noise in the heavens, and the Spirit instantly appeared to me and said that the serpent was loosened, and that Christ had laid down the yoke he had borne for the sins of men, and that I should take it on and fight against the serpent. For the time was fast approaching when the first should be last, and the last should be first.
Do not find yourself mistaken now.
Was not Christ crucified?
Was not Christ crucified? That's an astonishing statement by a man who's chained to the wall. You're going to be hanged the next day. And he's told that all your comrades are hanged, that your wife has been sold south, that you'll be hanged tomorrow. And he stands up from the cut and he says, was not Christ crucified? Can you imagine that? It's one of the great moments in human history, isn't it?
Any intelligent reader coming on the Confessions, the original Confessions of Nat Turner, and then reflects on those confessions for a while, would have to say to himself, this guy is a crazy lunatic. There's something really strange. The moment when he says to Mr. Gray, was not Christ crucified?
The myths contradict each other, and they grow up. You know, he's a saint. He's a crazy man. You know, you get conflicting reports, and people repeat them. They get carried on, and the historian has to peel back through that onion and try to find the real historical person.
So please welcome to the stage the first winner of the Gerald Perry Achievement in Media Award, Ken Greenberg.
So I'm thrilled that the first, my award goes to Ken. I was actually on the set of this movie writing about it for the Village Voice. And I can say it was in the state of Virginia. It was a day that was 110 or 115 degrees, but I still remember the ecstasy, the excitement of Mr. Greenberg here, screenwriter on the set, just an utter delight that his words were being said by these actors. It was a great moment, and Ken, please take this award.
Wow. I am really speechless. I had no idea. And, you know, Jerry and I go back a long ways, very long ways. And I've watched his career here. He was unappreciated in his early years, and I recognized what a gem he was for Suffolk. He has had an extraordinary career. So I'm so honored by this. And I'm also sad to see Jerry move into retirement, but you'll still be with us, right? Half-time retirement. I was also, you know, let me say a word about the Rammy Awards. I've been at every Rammy Award since the very beginning. I was here when Dana Rosengard was just a shy kid, basically. Before he got his sequins vests and everything like that, he was afraid to come on the stage and so forth. And now he's, you know, I'll give him the highest compliment I've ever given a Suffolk faculty member. He is almost funny about 25% of the time. Yeah, so. But every time I come to this, I'm always amazed at the work of our students up on the screen. It's really thrilling. You know, the first year we had a handful of students honored this way, and each year it's grown in excitement and grown in quality as well. And I know the reason why this has happened because of the spectacular faculty that you have. In fact, why don't we have a round of applause for your wonderful faculty members, please. So thank you, thank Jerry Perry, and I'm so honored to be the first recipient of this award. I really feel it deeply. And thank you all students for producing such spectacular work.
I was going to try to say something funny, right? But I wasn't sure how I was doing on that 25% so far, so we'll just, not so well apparently. All right, so let's move ahead, and we have more student Rammys to give. And our next category, we're moving to photography, ladies and gentlemen, and we're starting with black and white. And we have such fabulous work. We have 4 nominees in this category, ladies and gentlemen. Our nominees are Eyes by Manzi Patel, Sad by Anthony Mangini, The View from Below by Sidney Kopp, White Apocalyptic by Craig Dudley, and our resident expert is here to name our Rammy winner, Ken Martin.
Thank you, Dana. And the Rammy goes to Anthony Mangini Sad.
I'd like to thank Ken Martin, of course, for being a great photography professor. I'd like to also thank everyone else in the lab, Jason and Sasha, who helped put this together, Jerry and Keith down in the studio, everyone else who works in the lab, and Bobby, Kyle, and David in the back, of course. Thanks.
And now we're going to move over to color photography, and I am here to tell you 2 big winners from among these nominees. We have Fireball by Anthony Mangini, Red 2 by Emile Tesfaye, Steady Touch by Catherine Babb,
Best photo color Rammy. Let's see. The Rammy goes to, we have a tie, Catherine Babb and Anthony Mangini. I believe this is our first tie ever, so congratulations.
Wow, thank you so much. I want to say thank you to everyone who, well, thank you, but like congratulations to everyone who had a photo in this category. They're all really great. But I just really want to say thank you to everyone in the Department of Communications and Journalism. You know, every professor I've had here at Suffolk, they've always inspired and encouraged me to make the right decisions in photography and, you know, made me realize that I really did choose the right choice in coming here to Suffolk and pursuing my education in communications. So thank you.
Thanks again. I don't know.
The judges felt that the composition and the lighting were very dramatic in both photos and had to come up with a tie, and congratulations again.
And we're going to interrupt the photography awards to bring back to stage for your enjoyment Rampage. As they take the stage, you should know that this group was founded 4 years ago by 2 freshman women, both of whom, as seniors, are on stage, and we congratulate Liz Perrone and Lizzie Alden for 4 great years. Rampage performs on and off campus, and to the CJN students and faculty, if some of them look familiar, it's because half of them are CJN. It's Rampage!
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from reality. Open your eyes, look up to the skies and see. I'm just a poor boy, because I'm easy come, easy go, little high, little low.
Better you're a boy, make a big noise playing in the streets. Gonna be a big man someday. You got blood on your face, you big disgrace, kicking your cat all over the place. We will rock you. We will rock you. Better you're a young man, hot man, shouting in the streets. Gonna take on the world someday. You got mud on your face, you big disgrace, waving your banner all over the place. We will rock you. We will rock you. We will rock you. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one's gone. And another one's gone. Another one bites the dust. And another one's gone. And another one's gone. Another one bites the dust. Hey, I'm gonna get you too. Another one bites the dust. 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 I see a little silhouette of a man. Scaramouche, Scaramouche, will you do the fandango? Thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening me. Galileo, 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 Figaro, Magnifico. Oh, I'm just a poor boy, nobody loves me. He's just a poor boy from a poor family, sparing his life from this monstrosity. Easy come, easy go, will you let me go? I'll let you go. I'll let you go.
Thank you, Rampage. 2 more weeks of classes for those CJN students. I went to the cabaret show in the Donahue Cafe a couple of weeks ago, and I knew that I knew 1 or 2 of them, and I was sitting there in the back row sort of minding my own business, and I'm like, oh wait, there's another, and I just started counting, and I'm like, yeah, we're everywhere. I like that about CJN. We now go back to our Rammy Awards, and we are still with photography. We have 2 more categories. The next one up should be photo essay. I love when that happens. And let's look at a quick shot of our nominees. And they are Chinese New Year by Molly Delisle, Hurricane Sandy by Kelly McHugh, Imagination by David Lawler, and to present the award in this category, one of the Rammy founders, my colleague Jason Carter.
Thank you, everyone. And the Rammy goes to Kelly McHugh, Hurricane Sandy. Some of the judges' comments were that each image captures the dramatic sense of the natural phenomenon and mystery. Congratulations, Kelly.
I think this may be the first thing I've ever won, so thank you, judges, for awarding me this. I have to give credit to my hometown. I've lived on the ocean my entire life, and the storm gave me a great opportunity to go photograph it. Thanks for my friend Matt for coming. Thank you for my parents and my friends for supporting me, and my professors, and Ken Martin, my digital photography professor. Thank you.
Congratulations, Kelly. Sticking with our photography theme, in our last category should be Spot News. And we'll take a quick look at our nominees. And they are City Residents turned Alpine Adventures, Casey Coffenberry. Deval Patrick with Lonnie Powers by Anthony Mangini. Stroke of Luck by Craig Dudley.
And the Rammy for Best Spot News Photo goes to Anthony Mangini. Hat trick for Anthony. Well, I do have the judges' comments, but they said it was a nice photo, right? So I would like to say that Anthony is one of the finest student workers I've ever had, and no, I was not a judge. So he earned this fair and square. Congratulations, Anthony.
I'd like to thank Ken Martin for giving me the opportunity to go on this shoot with him, and this is my first hat trick. Go Bruins!
Congratulations, Anthony. And moving right along from news photograph to news reporting, our next category is hard news reporting, ladies and gentlemen. And 4 nominees. And they include Can Students Sway Votes by Heidi Walsh.
We were just all expecting to be sitting on like a pile of gold. Like for some reason, we weren't really thinking like, okay, things take time.
But will they vote to wait? A student community service group called Souls registered 200 students, but student director Martine Cisco says they're facing the same problem as the politicians.
Getting them to pay attention to us is, I think, a challenge. Yeah.
Ed Markey for U.S. Senate by Ryan Breslin.
Now is the time for us to take on the big challenges like climate change, like gun control, ensuring that a woman's right to choose is protected, ensuring that the LGBT community is protected.
Markey supporters see him as a forward thinker.
He has a good, solid record on the entire progressive, I'm not afraid to say liberal democratic agenda.
Green Line Bump Update by Jared Pelletier, Dan McCarthy, Anush Elbakian, and Matt Irwin.
One Green Line trolley stands still at the Boylston Street station, seen here on the silent video routinely being recorded by the MBTA. And then another comes in, doesn't stop, and then this happens. Emily Frackling was on the train that did not stop.
As we were about to hit it, I realized that that was going to happen, and so I held on really tight to the pole. So I was fine, but a lot of people around me were like thrown out of their seats, and everyone was just so shocked.
MBTA service cuts and fare increases by Dan Lamparello.
Bunker Hill Community College student Scott Page does not believe that the increases will have a huge effect on riders.
You know, for me, I use the monthly pass, so it's only going up $11. $11 isn't a huge deal. It's cutting back on a cup of coffee a week or so on and so forth. It's not life-changing.
Others are more skeptical. Occupy Boston is fighting back against the service cuts and fare increases.
When the hard news reporting Rammy goes to Matt Irwin, Anush Elbakian, Dan McCarthy, and Jared Pelletier for Green Line Bump Update.
The operator responsible for a Green Line trolley accident at Boylston Street Station has been fired.
37 people were sent to the hospital following what was labeled as a low-speed bump.
MBTA General Manager John Davis says the operator was fired because of his alarming disregard for customer and employee safety.
Our coverage begins with Suffolk U News reporter Gerald Pelletier, who joins us live from Tremont Street, just a block away from the bump occurred. Jared?
Thank you, Anush and Ryan. The 46-year-old male Green Line T operator was fired for not properly following fitness for duty policies set by the MBTA. It was found that he was working the night shift at another job from midnight to 8 a.m. prior to being found fatigued and inattentive while on duty.
It is just before noon on Thursday. One Green Line trolley stands still at the Boylston Street station, seen here on the silent video routinely being recorded by the MBTA. And then another comes in, doesn't stop, and then this happens. Emily Frackling was on the train that did not stop.
As we were about to hit it, I realized that that was going to happen, and so I held on really tight to the pole. So I was fine, but a lot of people around me were like thrown out of their seats, and everyone was just so shocked afterwards, because it's just, who expects to get into a crash on the T, It's like ridiculous.
Within minutes, transit police, Boston police, and emergency service officials arrived to close the station and care for injured passengers. Boston Emergency Medical Services Chief Jim Hooley says passengers received care immediately.
We had about approximately 37 patients who had minor injuries.
probably the most serious. One was probably like a fractured clavicle, collarbone. But we had a few other people complain of neck pain. They had to be immobilized.
A little more than an hour after the collision, the scene up on Boylston Street at Tremont was still littered with medical personnel, police, and the curious. MBTA officials worked quickly below ground to rule out equipment failure as the cause of the accident, and also found minor damage to both trains.
The Green Line is the only subway system that currently requires entirely on the driver's capability to bring a train to a complete stop. All other subway lines have safety systems in place to prevent trains from blowing through stop signals. Reporting live on Tremont Street in downtown Boston, Jared Pelletier, Suffolk U News. Back to you, Anush, in the studio.
Thank you, Jared. The MBTA has begun its expansion project of the Green Line, where it also looks into putting safety systems in place to prevent future accidents.
Now, I, of course, have personal experience with this particular story, and you should have noted that there were two other people who were nominated with this piece because they were instrumental in gathering what was a breaking news scene, and that is Matt Irwin and Dan McCarthy. And a round of applause for them, and we have certificates for you. I want you also to know, as we bring Anush and Jared up, that clearly we saw Ryan Breslin on the anchor desk. Hannah Lilly was his photographer out live on the street, our first live shot ever for Suffolk U News. And there were other students in the control room and on the studio floor bringing that story to you and making it all happen. The judges particularly said, outstanding live shot, great poise and delivery. Nice job of opening with best video, then going to best sound. Nice writing to video and good interviews made this a memorable piece. Fantastic job telling a compelling story on something so newsworthy. Anush, congratulations. And Jared.
Again, I want to say big thanks to Matt and Dan. You guys helped a lot. And just a quick story how it started. It started from an email from Dana saying just grab a camera and rush, and that's what we did. And by accident, I saw Jared going, and it was just an hour before our show, and it was just a great team effort. So thank you all for that.
I would like to thank Anush for doing the bulk of the camera work while I was trying to get sound and everything. It was a crazy, chaotic scene. I want to thank Dana for teaching us how to have the sense of urgency for when news breaks, to just grab a camera and go without asking questions. I'd also like to thank you for giving me nightmares to know whether or not I shot enough cutaways or B-roll. But in all seriousness, thank you to everybody else in Suffolk U News. You guys, it's a team effort, and without you guys, we wouldn't push hard enough to get the best story possible. So thank you.
And we move from hard news to feature news now, and as always, a big and competitive category with 4 nominees as finalists. And let's take a quick look at each of them now. Our feature news reporting Rammy nominees include Boston Blizzard of 2013 by Jared Pelletier.
Just trying to keep the kids entertained, and I'm headed to Florida Monday, so as long as my flight's on time, I don't care.
As soon as snow began to hit the ground, workers took to the streets trying to keep roadways and sidewalks clear. By Saturday morning, Boston was buried under 2 feet of snow.
I actually thought they were blowing it out of proportion. Like I didn't really believe it was going to be this bad, but this is worse.
City workers are acting quickly to remove waist-high snow piles off of the city streets so that Boston residents can move on with their everyday lives.
Panera Cares news package by Tom Boudreau and Matt Irwin.
I'm a college student. I struggle for rent every day, so I only got to pay $2.50 for a cup of soup, and it helped me out a lot.
And it's people like this that help keep Panera Cares afloat.
I just think it's a really good cause to help someone out that maybe can't afford to pay for a meal, and I can, so giving a little bit extra will always help someone else.
According to Panera executives, 60% of customers pay the regular price for their meal, 20% pay more, and the other 20% pays less. Although this Panera doesn't earn a profit, they don't lose money either.
SCB Skating Spectacular by Karina Bolster and Marie Hoffman.
The ceremony began without a fret as the skating spectacular began its first set. The Excel crystals followed with laughter.
It was cool, like with being outside and everything. It was fun.
As New England novice champion Janelle Herman proceeded thereafter.
I thought it was a lot of fun. I did it last year. It was a lot warmer than last year. The ice was good. You know, I'd love to do it again.
Women in Combat, SU Girl by Heidi Walsh.
Side by side, they fight the same fight. And for ROTC cadet Brielle Hutchings, this lift means open possibilities on an equal playing field.
It would make me feel absolutely confident that I could perform in any role in the military. And to have that flexibility and to have those options is definitely something that's positive.
Women like Hutchings will be open to more than 200,000 jobs, but only those who can perform physically will see the front lines.
And to present the award, another Rammy founding father, Dr. Shoshani Medmati Gerber.
Hello, everybody. And the Rammy goes to Heidi Walsh, Women in Combat.
In a historic move by the Pentagon, the ban on women serving in combat roles has been lifted.
Defense Secretary Leon Panetta says he believes our military serves more effectively when success is based solely on ability.
Joining us here with the decision is Suffolk U News reporter Heidi Walsh, who tells us the women are excited for the chance to prove themselves. Heidi?
Thank you, Anush and Olivia. They are. This has been the news many women have been waiting for. I spoke with one Suffolk University senior cadet training for the National Guard. She told me how meaningful this decision is for her.
When people ask, are you going to deploy? Like, do you want to deploy? I don't know what to say because I'm just always thinking, why would I join if I didn't want to deploy?
Side by side, they fight the same fight. And for ROTC cadet Brielle Hutchings, this lift means open possibilities on an equal playing field.
It would make me feel absolutely confident that I could perform in any role in the military. And to have that flexibility and to have those options is definitely something that's positive.
Women like Hutchings will be open to more than 200,000 jobs, but only those who can perform physically will see the front lines.
And if someone really wants to do it, they can, but I think the Army can't change and the Army won't change because these standards are there for a reason.
Standards based off pure muscle power. The physical fitness test balances this with different gender raw scores.
So for example, for a male to pass a PT test, Army-wide, you have to get 42 push-ups. For a female to pass the same exact push-up test, she has to do 19 push-ups.
However, Hutchings says it's her example of that training that will encourage others to follow.
The truth is, I'm doing it every day. Why can't you? Of course you can do it. And I can't imagine living any other lifestyle.
Now, some jobs will be open to women as soon as this year. Others will need more time and consideration. The Pentagon has until 2016 to make changes if leaders believe some positions to remain closed to women. So Olivia and Danush, I spoke to Brielle, who also has a husband in the military. When she's promoted to second lieutenant in May, she will actually outrank him, and she told me she's excited that he will have to call her ma'am.
That is great they can share relationship equally through military.
I think it's so cute.
Thank you, Heidi. More than 133,000 women are currently serving in the Army in other capacities. Only 5% of those women are currently deployed.
I just want to add, before I give the microphone to Heidi, the judges in this category that were from Boston, professionals from Boston, New York City, and London, said about this category, an excellent job localizing a national story. The writing was particularly strong with excellent choice of speakers and visuals. And I just wanted to add that this story, Heidi, particularly spoke to me because I served in the military. It's mandatory where I come from, and it's usually an experience that's very disconnected here from the college life. So it was very interesting to me to see that you took interest in this very important debate. So congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, Anoush and Olivia, like I said in the package. The person that I really, really want to thank for this award is the girl that I featured, Brielle. She still hasn't seen it yet because she's very camera shy. She risked a lot to talk to me because her superiors, people, their base in Tennessee, they were definitely watching Suffolk U News that week. She is going to be ranked to a second lieutenant in May when she graduates, and she thought it was important enough to talk to me about something that she believed in a lot. And just knowing that the weight of her words were that important to her future, or it hung in the mix, was enough for me to really listen, to really pay attention to the story. And that's why I think the piece came out as good as it did. And it was really hard to film people that are all running around in the fields. Like the lieutenant commander was like, okay, they're gonna come this way through the field. And I was like, okay, I'm ready. And then they go and then they run the other way. And I'm like, okay, let me run after them with the camera and get in them with the snow. And I wanna thank everyone in Suffolk U News for supporting me. Just as a fellow student, you know, it's been a rough semester for me, just learning and being confident in myself and knowing that I can do this. So I really want to thank, along with Dana Rosengard and the other teachers, for helping me become as good as I can. So thank you.
Congratulations, Heidi. That was a fabulous story. And now we're moving from reporting to music videos, and it's a very popular category because I know plenty of you like to shoot those things, and they're all sorts of fun. It is our last award category of the evening, and our nominees in music video include A Million Miles by Tyler Fisk and Mason Marino. Hometown by David Lawler.
Shows that we ain't gonna stand. Shows that we are united. Shows that we ain't gonna take it. Shows that we ain't gonna stand. Shows that we are united.
The Breakup by John McGregor, Alexander Ortiz, and Amanda Sousa.
She may contain the urge to run away, but hold her down with soggy clothes and breeze blocks. Germaline, disinfect the scene, my love, 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 but please don't go. I love you so, my lovely.
There ain't no sugarcoating it. This is war.
It's that Bones McAllister. I know it.
Old Bones and his gang have the fastest moves this side of the Mason-Dixon. So get ready, boys. We're just gonna have to be faster.
So the judges for this award were an MTV programmer, a music critic from LA, and a former alum. And they said of this piece, technically brilliant, pacing, lovely, and I love this one, a sense of humor. The MTV programmer said, just enough cheese. Congratulations.
I want to thank the band, Aston, Mike Randa, Mason, everybody from the Media Lab, Jason, Sasha, David. I guess that's it. Mason.
Yeah, I guess the moral is don't use guns, guys. It's my mom's birthday, so this goes out to her. You all heard it. You all heard it. So that's my birthday gift.
Congratulations. So As one of the founding members of the Rammys, I want to say once again that this is definitely a team effort. You've heard many of the names tonight of people who put it together, and all of them certainly deserve a post-Rammys drink. But I just wanted to say, I hope that those of you who didn't submit this year, or those of you who did and perhaps didn't win, that you were inspired by your peers. Faculty and staff in CJN, we come to work every day because when we see your effort turning out work like this, it fills our hearts. So I hope you are inspired to continue to work really hard and thus inspire us to continue to want to come to work every day. Congratulations to all the winners and good luck next year.
And so the 2013 Rammys have been handed out. And as I look around the room and I see freshmen, Gabby, put your phone away, and I see sophomores and juniors, you were on your phone. As I see you out there, please know that this is the kind of work that you can do. Absolutely, and we expect to see your work in this show and your bodies on this stage next year and the year after and the year after that as well. A big thank you to everybody who helped put the show together, because it does take a lot of people. A reminder to all of our Rammy winners to please come backstage to get your boxes and your certificates so that you can keep those awards safe. And I will say good night. I will invite you all to the back deck for our party. It's just around the corner. Take 2 lefts. It's on West Street. You know I'll be there, and you know what I'll be having. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much.